Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This is episode 48 of Sports Bliss
with Rob
and Chris. Thank you guys for coming back. Our last episode was a little bit crazy and all over the place, but we had fun making it.
It was fun.
It was fun. I had fun.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do during these times? You have to make the most of it, right?
Yeah, what's better than having a game with friends?
Yeah. So speaking of, we have been obsessed with this new app, House Party.
Oh, yeah.
And every chance we can get, like usually it's like every Friday or Saturday night we're house partying with friends, family, whatever. And we had a really fun experience with it. We stayed up late drinking with our friends and just dancing in our house.
Oh, it was fun.
It was so much fun. Who would ever think that would be, who would ever think that would be like a typical Saturday night now?
I know, it was weird, right?
I mean, I like to say that I'm a homebody, but I think it's kind of fun. Like, it's funny to think how we're all adapting
yeah.
to the circumstances right now.
Yeah, I think that goes along with this campaign that just came out where they're trying to change this idea of social distancing, that word, to change it to physical distancing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed they've been saying that more and more in the news. But
no, I haven't, because I have not.
I know
been
you don't
watching
watch a lot of the news,
no.
but they've been saying that because people have taken it literally as social distancing.
Like,
they're like not
people.
talking to anyone. They're not
right.
interacting with anyone. And that's going to be a serious problem for depression and just isolation.
Right.
So.
Okay. So let's just dive into this episode.
Okay. I thought we would talk about how the COVID-19 is affecting college sports. There's a big announcement this week by the NCAA. They came out and they were talking about, there's been a lot of articles actually over the last week or so talking about the financial implications of the COVID-19. You know, the biggest thing was the NCAA tournament being canceled. Then that led to the spring sports being canceled. Then the NCAA came out and said that all those seniors that missed their season, like the baseball players and this sort of stuff, they can have an additional year. So all college athletes can have an additional year, and that's up to the universities.
Okay.
And what made me want to look more into this is because shortly after that, the University of Wisconsin, which is a Power 5 school and very successful, right? They came out and said they're not going to allow their seniors to return.
Oh.
Yeah. They're not even offering it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of financial implications to this. But not just that. It kind of log jams how many players on a team.
Right.
So it's not just the direct cost of scholarships for each of them, but then you have to travel with more players. You may lose players because they don't want to be there because they're going to sit on the bench longer.
Right.
All this kind of stuff.
That makes sense.
And so I saw one figure. One school said that it would cost them about an extra $300,000 for just their spring sport athletes for scholarships to continue another year.
Right.
So that's a lot of money for a lot of programs. But then the NCAA just released this week that they were finally going to release the revenue. So what happens is when they have like all these conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament and, you know, the baseball World Series and all that, each conference gets a share of that money. And so they announced that it was going to be about $250 million, I think, $250 million that was going to be distributed to all the conferences. Well, that sounds like a lot, but that's $375 million lower than what they expected to distribute to everyone.
Okay.
So all the schools are only getting about 36% of what they expected. And so that's one reason Wisconsin came out and said they're like, we're going to be in the negative $4 million by their calculations.
That's crazy.
So obviously, all these athletic directors around the country and the commissioners of all the conferences, they've been freaking out because they say they're taking a hit with all this, but what happens if there's no football?
Right. Because they're talking about pushing football back.
Well, that's one reason they're talking about pushing football back. It's because all these athletic directors and all have said it's crucial that they have football. If they don't, that's where, you know, like most schools get about 80 to 90% of their revenue from. It's from the football team.
Right.
And they said, it was just interesting in reading all this. The Big 12 said that their cut from the NCAA is usually about $24 million. it's going to go down to 10 million. That's crazy. A big drop. So you can think that's the way each conference is going to be. So they're all going to have to make tough choices.
Right.
And these are the power schools. So now, not even talking about Division I, talk about Division II and Division III. They're talking about a lot of those programs are probably going to close their sports altogether.
That's so sad.
Yeah. One athletic director, actually, he put it in this kind of tier of importance. He said, when I think about sports, Division I football is the most important to preserve. The second in Division I basketball, because the NCAA tournament actually...
they generate a lot of income,
that generates almost all the income for the NCAA that they get.
Right.
Because they don't own the football championship. That's privately owned. But the third one that they have to protect, they said, is women's sports. So why do you think they would say that that's on the hierarchy? Why would women's sports be the third most important?
I don't know.
Because of Title IX.
Oh, yes,
right?
Yes.
Because you have to balance the number of scholarships. So if you're going to have football, you have to have enough scholarships on the women's side to balance it. And basically, they're like, none of the women's sports make money, except for maybe basketball. That could make money. But all the rest of them lose money. So if you're just looking at it from a budget standpoint, you'd say, oh, I'll just get rid of all the women's sports right away, and we'll save money, right? But you can't because of Title IX. So then actually what happens is they're going to end up cutting men's sports. Like, I never knew this, but Tulane University, they don't have a men's baseball team. And they're a big-time university, you know?
Right.
They don't have it because they don't have the budget. They have to have women's sports to balance their football team.
Right.
And so they're saying a lot of these departments, they've already started, like, especially the Division II and Division III, they've already fired coaches. They've already laid off their whole sports departments. And they're saying this may come in other areas or bigger schools also. And that's one reason they froze, like, the recruiting, that coaches can't go and recruit players. They can't go to their houses. They can do it over the phone or FaceTime or whatever like that, but they can't go visit them.
Right.
Or bring them in to interview them or show them the campus because they wanted the schools to save the money. They're forcing them to save their budgets. So it's just interesting. They're saying that it's going to be very, very critical for football to happen. And so they haven't made any decisions yet officially from the NCAA if they're going to cancel or push back or whatever. But a lot of the athletic directors around are very nervous about this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is going to change basically everything.
Oh, definitely. And they were given a lot of examples of how a lot of universities were very thankful that they hadn't started certain projects. Like Temple, they were going to build an on-campus stadium because they play where the Eagles play now in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. They were going to build their own stadium. And they said, luckily, they didn't start that project because they wouldn't have the money for it now.
Right.
You know, and so, you know, there's this big arms race with all the college football teams, right? To build indoor practice facilities, lazy rivers, you know, whatever it is. And they're like, maybe after this, that may all go away, you know, because they're like, it's just not enough money around. And why strap your program when you're actually making a lot of money? Why are you spending all this? Do you really need to do that? And
well, I thought that from the beginning, like with UCF when they were building that lazy river.
They're totally doing it for recruiting.
No, but I've always thought that was not necessary.
Oh, yeah. But all the schools do it. You know,
it's not necessary.
They all do it. They have, like, I think, like a water slide or something at Clemson, and they have all this crazy stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're right. It's totally unnecessary. You know, I mean, you show some of these locker rooms and all that these places have, but a lot of it's done with private money, but that private money could go towards other things.
Right.
You know, donations. The other kind of interesting thing in one of the articles is they were saying it's really going to change recruiting. And they said the most traditional way of recruiting. And the guy, he was anonymous. He goes, yeah, I meant paying for players.
Oh.
They're not going to have as much money to pay for players anymore.
Well, yeah, of course.
Because we all know they do it in basketball, but they must do it in football too. But,
I'm sure.
You know, from these shoe deal allegations and all that all the teams got hit with, we have on wiretaps that they definitely paid players. The coaches have been caught.
Right.
So it's just interesting to see how all this shakes out, and hopefully we can get back to some normalcy and have normal football.
Right. So this brings me into what I wanted to talk about. And I posted something on our Instagram story. So if you have not checked it out, I don't know if it's going to be active as of now, but go check us out on Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris on Instagram. That's where we're the most active. And I like to do like some of these polls sometimes, or like I'll just put in like quotes, inspirational quotes, or, you know, something just to like make you uplifted. So I wanted to do this poll, and I was really interested, like if sports were to restart up in the next 2 weeks, I'm interested to see who would actually go back. Like, would you go back and like do your normal activities if like things just opened up within 2 weeks, or would you stay home? Like, instead of going to the basketball game or football game, would you just stay home? So on the poll that I took of you guys, 68% said they would go.
Wow.
And 32% said they would stay home. I thought that was interesting.
It is interesting.
I thought more people would choose to stay home. I mean,
I know there was that. We were talking about this right before this. There was a study out of, I think, Seton Hall, and they had the reverse numbers, basically, of what we had.
yes.
I don't know. In 2 weeks, I don't know. What would you do?
I don't know. I don't think I would go.
Yeah, I think I may wait it out a little bit.
Okay, so basically what Rob had said earlier, I wanted to look up and see if they've actually done studies about this. And there was one study that was from New Jersey, and it was only taken for about like 700 people. And they said out of that 700, 72% said that they would not attend any sporting events until there was a vaccine available.
Yeah, who knows when that's going to be.
And then I looked up and I was like, okay, so what typically would this vaccine be available? And they were saying, like, medical experts were saying that there won't be a vaccine until 2021.
Oh, yes, that would be the earliest.
That would be the earliest.
Yeah, when they do the flu, it isn't like they wait until someone has the flu and then they develop the vaccine. They do it based on projected models of previous years of the flu.
So I thought it was interesting. So people won't go out unless there's a vaccine. It makes them feel better. It makes them feel more comfortable. To me, we have that for the flu shot, and people still don't take it. So I kind of found that really interesting.
It is interesting.
I actually, and we were talking about this the other day, there's no way that this virus just started in one day.
No.
Like what they claim or what they're suspecting, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they're saying that it basically started in October in China, and it didn't reach here until about January, right? I think, or February is when it started. Yeah. And I think I was watching something on Facebook. It was, some like experts were talking, and they were saying all of these people with these symptoms, they were showing these symptoms back in September.
Oh, yeah.
Of 2019.
Yeah, and everybody thought it was the flu, but they were being tested
negative on everything. Yeah. So they were just kind of like, okay, just go home. We don't know what else to do for you. So it's like, I feel like this has been around, but the fact now that there's so much light and like paranoia attached to it, I feel like people are like, even after the quarantine ban is lifted, I feel like people are still going to continue with this social distancing, or physical distancing is what they want to call it.
Yeah.
And that makes me really sad, because I think I might be one of those people.
I know.
Let's just be honest. I'm a homebody anyway, but this is really making me like, I don't even want to see anybody.
I know. It's making you be hermit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did actually go to the store with me the other day, although you did sit in the car and wait until I came back. But but I was proud of you. You got out.
I'm living. I'm good.
Well, we're all adjusting. This is all new, and you're trying to do your part too. You don't want to spread it. Can we lighten it up a little bit?
Yeah.
I came across a kind of funny story.
Okay.
It involves Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant.
I've heard about this.
Have you heard this?
Yeah, I actually came across that. I think this is what you're going to talk about. I came across this article before that other article.
Oh, maybe you did.
With the poll.
Yeah. So basically, you probably already know, but basically, Kobe and Shaq played with each other from 1996 to 2004. and they won 3 championships during that time. But it's been well known that they really butted heads and they didn't really like each other. They were both trying to be the alpha, basically, right?
Of course.
And Shaq was moving on his career, and Kobe was really coming up. That's when he was really getting into his prime, and Shaq didn't like it. And, Kobe wanted to be in control. It was a big struggle. And so I guess on all the Smoke podcasts with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, remember him?
Yes.
You'd loved him. Isaiah Ryder on there said Shaq offered him $10,000 to get into a fight with Kobe.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he said this was the 3rd day that Isaiah Ryder is on the team. And he goes, hey, if you get into a fight with Kobe, there'll be 10 G's in your locker in $1 bills.
Oh my gosh.
As long as you handle business. Well, what do you think? Do you think this is real? I mean, I think it really was said, but do you think this is real or...
I think he probably said it, but maybe he was just joking. I don't know how serious Shaq was about it.
Shaq is like a big jokester. Come on.
No, I don't. I believe he said it.
Oh, I 100% believe he said it, but I think he was messing with him.
Yeah.
Especially because he said there'll be $1 bills in a suitcase in your locker when you're done.
I would have been like 10,000, that's it?
Yeah, exactly. But 10 grand to get into a fight with somebody?
That's like $100 to them.
They all get into fights all the time.
Oh, in practice? I thought it was like on
No, they're on the same team. They're on the same team. So, you're guarding each other, you can get into it, and then you get into a fight.
Mm-hmm.
But, Isaiah Ryder was smart. He was like, listen, I knew if I laid any hands on Kobe, I was off the team. Right. So I didn't do it. He didn't say he didn't want to take the money or do it. He said, I just knew I'd be off the team.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny. Is that the story you heard?
Yeah, I just saw the headline. I didn't really
okay. Yeah, so that's the story.
Go into detail with it.
So the other thing that came up in the news this week is the Bucks general manager was asked about Jameis Winston. And basically someone asked him if he was going to make it on another team or is he just a bust? And he kind of like skirted around the subject and said, no, I don't think Winston's a bust and this. But, I mean, what's he supposed to say? He drafted the guy.
He can say he's a bust. I mean, if
he drafted him, you
like...
don't want you. I mean, I can understand him not wanting to call him a bust because he drafted him number 1.
Well, he didn't know he was going to be a bust.
Well, yeah. So, what do you think?
A total bust.
You think he's a total bust?
Yes, I've said it from day 1. He's a total bust.
So do I.
I don't even know why he got to the NFL, to be honest.
Well, I mean, he won a lot in college in this. And, if you look statistically at him, you can make arguments probably for both sides, because he threw all these touchdowns and he's the leading passer for Tampa Bay for the whole history of the team, this sort of thing. But the statistic I look at is in his 5 years, he had 1 winning season.
That's crazy.
And never made the playoffs. So in 2015, the Bucks were 6-10. That was 2015, 6-10. 2016, they were 9-7. So that was his good year. Then they were 5-11. 2018, he didn't play the whole year, but they were 5-11. And I think Fitzmagic got a bunch of those wins.
Oh yeah.
And then 2019, he was 7-9. No playoff appearances.
So that's a bust to me.
So if you don't want to label him a bust, he's definitely disappointing. I mean, he did stick around for 5 years, but if you're number 1 pick,
he didn't do anything for 5 years, basically.
Yeah, if you're a number 1 pick, you're going to be around for 5 years, most likely.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think we both label him as a bust.
100%.
You know what time this is?
It's trivia time, but reversed.
Ooh,
you are asking me the trivia.
I am. Now, this one will be hard for most people, but I think this is a pretty easy one for you.
Okay, shoot.
All right. What is Lane Staley's middle name?
Thomas.
Oh!
Duh. I have it tattooed on me. Just kidding.
Oh, you love it. Okay.
Was that a warm-up? That was it?
No, that was it.
You really only gave me that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, I can give you another one. Okay, this is per Grubhub.
Oh, okay.
Can you name one of the top 5 most popular game day foods that they deliver?
I want to say pizza, no?
No, pizza was not on the list.
But they usually have their own delivery.
Yeah, pizza's usually on delivery.
I don't know, chicken wings.
Chicken wings was not on there.
Okay, I'm trying to think of
these are really
game day
hard.
foods.
These are really hard.
I think of like nachos.
I'll give you
or
a
like
hint.
I mean,
I'll give
I don't
you a
know.
hint. Something we can get in the UCF football game, but only in our section.
Oh, Four Rivers.
Yeah, but more general.
Pulled pork, barbecue.
Yeah, so they said smoked brisket sandwiches was number 1.
That's so random.
Isn't that random? So here's their list.
I've never had that for game day ever.
Yeah, here's their list per Grubhub. Number 1 was smoked brisket sandwiches, which I've had because they do have a very good barbecue place at our stadium, Four Rivers. So we're very blessed with that.
Yes.
Number 2, cheeseburger empanadas.
What?
Never heard of it. Never eaten it. Never seen it.
Cheeseburger empanada.
That's what it said.
That's
Number
so
3
weird.
was pepper burgers. I don't even know what a pepper burger is.
Okay, where was this?
It was like CBS Sports or whatever.
I know, but
Grubhub.
what city are they taking this out
It
of?
was the whole country.
I don't believe that.
Number 4, roast chicken. And number 5 was buffalo mac and cheese. I was like, at least there's something kind of gooey and cheesy on this, you know?
For game day?
Yeah, I was like, really weird. Where's the wings? Where's the pizza?
Where's the beer?
Well, beer's a liquid, not a food.
To some people.
I know. Oh, that was a hard one.
That was crazy.
It's crazy,
I
right?
don't believe that.
That's the whole reason I wrote it down. It was like weird. Okay. I have something similar. I guess it's a variation on Would You Rather. So I have a question for you. If you could save one celebrity or sports star from death, who would it be? That's part 1. But by doing this, all of their works that made them famous would be gone as well as their talent. So they couldn't make any more. So like if they were, say, a football player,
Okay.
whatever they did in the past would disappear. Nobody would know who they were, and they wouldn't have that ability to be a football player anymore. Or if they're a musician, all of their music would be gone forever.
But would I know?
No, you wouldn't know.
So like if I
Like you always talk about, oh, I would have tried to save Lane Staley,
yeah,
right?
of course. So if I had that opportunity,
Yeah, you could save him.
then I wouldn't know any of his music. Nobody would know any of his music.
Yeah. And he wouldn't have that ability anymore, so he couldn't even make the music again.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Who would you say?
I don't know.
You didn't even think about it?
I'm still thinking about it.
Oh my gosh, that's like a really heavy question. I don't know if I can answer that because I don't know. Right?
I don't know. I think...
I mean, of course, my first choice would be Lane Staley, but then I'm like...
But then you wouldn't have Alice in Chains.
I know. Then what am I going to do? What
But
am
you
I going to
wouldn't-
listen to?
But you wouldn't know you didn't have Alice in Chains. But you would... I'm assuming like you would have to just really, really like this person so that like you could like save them, but you're sacrificing for them. That's your sacrifice, is that you never know about them.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Nobody, huh?
It's like crickets.
Crickets.
I don't know. I don't know. That's hard.
That's a really tough one,
It's
right?
hard to answer. I don't know. I'm sure I could think of a few people, but like,
Would you be willing to give up what you know about them?
I mean, I think honestly, like an easy answer would be like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Only because like the basketball and fame, like that's fine. But like at least he would have his family. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like that's like an obvious answer.
Yeah. It's a tough one, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a really tough one.
Okay. So let's just stay tuned for that. If you guys have any answers for that one or who you would save, make sure to give us a call on our voicemail 407-494-6420. And I'm really curious to hear some of your answers for that Would You Rather.
Me too.
And that's going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.